Just start off with our roll call. Lynn Snow.
Here.
Nancy Boonder.
Here.
Steve Timothy, I'm here, and Chris Squire.
Here.
Okay. Let's just get right into it. Let's review our minutes from our last meeting. Did anybody see or notice anything that needed changed? Okay, I didn't see anything either, so do we have a motion to approve the minutes from Lynn?
I'll second it.
Second from Nancy. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Move on to our lot line adjustment. Who is presenting that to us?
Okay. Yes, we have a lot line adjustment that we'd like to do some adjusting on. This is South Roosevelt, down on Pole Line Road, 2000 South, as you can see. Can I come over here and just show?
Yeah.
Okay. We currently have a large section of property here that involved, and you'll have to correct me if I say it wrong, you guys, that involved this piece and these two.
No, them three's the houses.
No.
Or B and C, the B and C
Right.
is what I mean. B and C was included in this parcel of property,
I think D was too.
and D, B, C, and D. And then we had an additional partial that included A and this back partial, this back piece. So we're wanting to do a line adjustment.
So did you still have those?
Yeah.
We still have all of this, yes.
Okay.
This is all still owned by us. So we would like to do a rezoning and be able to,
Not zoning, just a lot line adjustment.
lot line adjustment, I'm sorry, I don't know your legal term.
And one reason we are doing this, 3 of the parcels have the same serial number. But they were separate. They were divided out. They haven't divided them, but 3 of these parcels had the same serial number as the large one. So that's why we're doing a lot line
Yeah, these
adjustment.
3 have the same as this large one. And
Okay.
so we wanted to divide it out so that this, from this line back would be one parcel. And then this here would be a partial along with B, C, and D. So we would have one full adjustment here as one partial, A, B, C, and D as a different partial.
So the new south line is the dashed line? Or are
The
you
one at the
gonna-
back of A.
That's-
One at the back
that's
of
the
A.
old line.
That's the old line, so you're gonna move it up?
So how did they get,
This is
how did
the
they
old
get
line.
divided and have still one parcel number?
I have no idea.
I don't know how I have.
We don't
If
either,
you
we're
went
not
to the
sure.
county GSI, they were all, they were shown separate, but they all had the same serial number.
Yeah, we're not sure why that.
So that's why they needed to get it corrected.
So
Some-
A, B,
But
C,
there's been a plat or something at some point that's caused that.
Well, something caused it, but they're trying to straighten it out here now. so
What-
they
what-
don't have
The
the
one,
same-
the one you don't have, the ones you don't have, who's developed those?
those are homes.
Joe Felsted's old house was one of them, and Laureen's house was.
My house.
There's my home, the Barretts, then Maureen LaRose here, and then Joe Felstead here. These are our own partial lot.
So did you take them out at some point of the big piece? They were part of the big piece and you took them out?
Yeah, that would
Way
have
back
been
when.
Way
like,
clear
like
back
in
when.
75,
78,
Yeah,
something like that.
80, about 80, it was about 80,
79.
yeah, 79, 80.
We lived in our houses in 80.
So those were taken out and individually in their own partial,
And they were lots.
and they're just half acre lots.
So now you're just wanting to make 2 lots out of the thing?
For the remainder property, we want just the 2 partials for the rest.
Is that what we want?
Yeah, because this is the property line, and we want it to be now, this solid line, we want it to be one full partial. And then we want the frontage, which is A, B, C, and D as a second partial.
Can we have
Why would
D?
you want D included in the parcel that doesn't connect to them?
Well, they're not gonna be one of the same
Well,
parcel.
These are all 3 separate
They're gonna be
parcels.
separate.
There's gonna be 4 parcels.
Oh, we're
Sell
gonna
the
divide it
lots.
into 4, okay, okay.
We're
So
gonna sell
then you're not,
Five
Five.
A,
total.
1,
Five
2,
total.
3, 4 different partials is what you're
Plus
saying.
5.
Yes, but if
The
you
big
went,
ones.
if you went to GSI now, it shows D as a separate parcel. C
But-
and D already shown with the lines, but the serial numbers are combined into the large lot. And that's why we're just trying to straighten it
We're
out,
just trying
so
to
this
straighten
can
it
go to county and get separate serial numbers for the individual parcels.
For A, B, C.
A needs to be
You
one,
need a
B
plat
needs
to
to
do
be
that?
one.
Don't need a plat to do that, huh?
They're not subdividing, all they're doing is moving the lot line in from the big parcel
by
and then
creating
getting
that.
separate serial
Okay.
numbers for the others, because they were always there.
Here's what it looked like, here's what it looks like now.
Right.
So there's 1,
Oh,
2,
see.
Oh, I see.
and so B and C are together, so it looks like they're splitting B and C,
We're gonna split bands.
creating splitting B and C. They already have D,
Yes,
and this piece goes with E.
and then that side piece up by Lana goes with the back.
Isn't the large black line moving up to the back of the parcels though?
Yes, this large back line will move up to the, here.
Okay.
Oh,
And then the
this
side
little
piece.
piece comes with this.
With the
With
back
the-
Yeah, that
piece.
slides
This
over.
small piece will come with this.
So do you
It's a
have
right
a,
of way.
has that been legally
Oh.
defined?
Right.
Have a
Yes.
Description of it?
Survey.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
we've surveyed it and had it legally done.
Okay.
So this is current,
There you go, that map helps,
Oh.
yeah.
and
That's what Jerry all read.
This is current, this is what we're looking at.
Okay.
that helps. So,
How wide's that?
Tremendously showing all this one.
The one next to your house? How wide's that strip for your right of way?
This strip,
Right there where the arrow is.
It was
Yeah,
supposed to be 25, but when they surveyed it, only ended up 23 and a half.
it's about 23 and a half off from the survey.
Originally, that was gonna be a road between the 280 acres
For right away road.
years ago.
Well, is there any reason why we wouldn't do this? Why we wouldn't?
I see no reason why we wouldn't clarify things and make it easier.
I move approval.
Have a motion to approve from Lynn,
I'll second that.
second from Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Let me get the special marker and I can sign that.
So D and B, like, parcels there.
5 different, and I was thinking that.
Especially.
The special marker to do it.
I figured.
Twentieth today?
Yeah, yeah, it did. But the back is included in that.
You're just moving that line up. So
Yeah.
they're all
So it's all even.
If you look at that line table, it'll tell you the width of that, because it was called out as L18.
All right.
As you know, that table on the
Now we get to move on to the next step.
Okay,
slide.
I keep it?
Yeah,
don't I?
and then take it to
That's the council.
city council meeting. And then mayor will sign it. And then you take
And we
that
have
to the
go
county.
county and do the
Yeah.
recording.
22.26. 22.
All right. Next, we have our master plan discussion, preview, introduction, whatever we want to call it.
We'll just do that on the city council.
Yeah, I'm Chuck Richmond, overarching the city hired us to update the master plan. I just wanted to introduce myself, let you know we're working on it. See if I can get some input from this body. Right now, we're working on getting a questionnaire out to the public to try to get feedback. And have been, we approached the city, we met with all the staff, we met with council last night. We have a little quick PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you.
If you go to the slide 5 first. This one. No, in the back, right? No, that was okay. These ones right here, these are the components of the master plan. And if you go to the questions, go to number 5 if you would.
Can we watch the next one?
Yeah, that one right there. We're trying to get input from you guys, and it's not like right now, here, answer these questions. Like, we can give you this and you can give input, but we wanna make sure that everybody has had the chance to weigh in and make sure that we are submitting a questionnaire on social media and utility bills. We'll even have a, open house at the senior center where people can come and ask questions and fill something out. But I want to make sure that we're getting the right information in there.
What's the question they're gonna ask for?
So there's 3 questions here.
Oh, those questions?
Well, these questions right here are to help you guys kind of decide what are the hot topics and what stuff needs to be in the questionnaire. We've already got a huge list just from our previous meetings, but, now it's kind of
I think the term is you have a preliminary draft.
a preliminary.
That's what I mentioned the other day, and we're trying to get input from everybody so they can fine tune it. And then they'll send it out to everybody to critique.
I think what we can do is send you those questions, and then you can kind of weigh in and use that as kind of a guide to say, okay, this is important, we need to make sure we're asking this, we need to make sure we're asking this. Any input you can give us on that. So if Ryan, or Lee and Ryan can make sure that these guys get a copy of that.
I'll get it signed.
And then I think by the 1st is when we kind of want any comments back.
One of the hottest issues we've had in this meeting was, along State Street and the mixed use residential and business or commercial, whatever we have along State Street, and we've had some folks who live along there who did.
Here behind us here.
Huh?
The stuff behind us.
Yeah.
And it's POR now, so it's
With
already
group
mixed.
home, with the insurance office, there's been several items that have been brought up on that one.
Is that the ones that were there last night? Talking about?
Were they here last night?
For city council.
The neighbors or the?
Some neighbors were here.
It was the public hearing for it.
It was a public hearing following yours, they had theirs last night.
For the group home,
For the group home,
did it pass or?
it did.
Well, and even, we'll put a questionnaire together for the public, but even comments from you guys, like stuff like, is this only working? Do we need to change, think about converting agricultural to residential or commercial or something? Anything like that. I mean, as we go forward, we'll be working on this for a while, but I just wanna, keep this current and make sure that we're addressing everything that we need to.
Okay.
If you wanna go to that one map that I created with the red lines on it. Yeah, that one. So Ryan and I have already kind of talked about, we provided the water up here to do some residential expansion, and then this down here obviously would be a good place for a residential type zoning, but any input you guys can give on the annex, in the ultimate annexation boundary, what do we need to be looking at as far as future land use? In our study, we'll do what we need to in order to figure that out as well, but, a lot of it comes from public comment and from bodies like this. Do you want to go to the other one that shows the boundary?
Yeah, that's our potential boundary.
Yeah, I can just pull up this map here that shows that.
Yeah, we'll have, obviously the existing zones, but shaded area is the ultimate annexation boundary, and that's, as part of the general plan, we need to figure out what that needs to be.
Mhm.
And from there, I mean, that is a prerequisite to everything in this master plan. You need to figure out what kind of land use is there in order to figure out your sewer and your future water. How do you serve those areas, so. Any feedback is appreciated. Like I said, it doesn't have to be right now, but if you can look at the questions that Ryan's gonna send you and offer any.
You'll just send us that whole PowerPoint so we can kind of look through it.
I can do that.
You're sending an email, Ryan?
Yeah,
And if you have any thoughts on where we need to be going with land use.
I think sometimes we've been too eager to extend our facilities outside of the city without having them annexed.
Mhm.
And we need to be careful about that. We've been too liberal on that for a long time.
I agree.
For city services.
Uh-huh.
I would agree with that.
When really to me, we really shouldn't have out of city water connections. You know what I mean? As far as there should be a way to try to get them to annex,
Certainly not
you know,
Where
as much
they're-
as we can.
where they're close by. I mean,
Like,
we should never have another Northtown.
right.
we have a resolution in place that if they are adjacent to the city, annexation is required if they want water. And that's why you'll see Lance Denver's came through, Del
Mhm.
Tribes came through, and
Did you have another one?
John Wills,
Oh, yeah.
and then Stonegate. So at that point, we've had 4 annexations in the
Yeah.
last 2 years.
Yeah, we've had more last year than the last few combined.
And we've had six annexations.
Just over by
Last 4 years.
big
Yeah.
apartment complex north of Alabama.
Sewer too.
So we're.
Right up in that,
Right, yeah. We have sewer and water there, full. Crazy.
and it's county,
Huh?
and it's in the county.
Yeah.
You know, we did a survey and we went, and proposed along this, 2000 north.
That'd be two.
And, that might be 2000 north. We came across this line right here and we took all property owners and we sent a letter to every property owner in that area. And we said, are you interested in annexation? And then we also, any of those that responded no to our first initial letter, we sent out a letter and had a comparison of what the additional property tax would be, what their water adjustment would be, and if they had sewer, what their sewer adjustment would be. Identifying them out of what the actual amount would be. And there, because we have the city's, our hill, so we felt like, you know, we could drive a annexation if we have property to bring it adjacent. So we just asked and surveyed that area, and by and large, the survey came back heavily no, which was unfortunate for us.
Where was this at?
This
North-
area right here.
North Town, North Crescent.
State Street, north of State Street, from Highway 121 over to the
County
county
line.
line from 2000, I think it was 1,000 north. I think that's 1,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Out
So-
North Crescent.
Yeah, seems like,
1,000.
but everything below there, including our hill, including Johnny Will's properties, we had public meetings. And at that point, we couldn't establish a high enough threshold to bring them in. So it's unfortunate.
What were some of their concerns as far as saying no? Did they have, what were reasoning?
Some of them didn't give reasons, some of them said, you know, I like to live in the county, I don't want to live in the city.
Yeah.
That broad of an answer.
They just don't want houses around them. They're afraid of in the city, there's be more development.
Animal rights, all kinds of issues.
Animal rights is the same. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I think there's so much misunderstanding and misconception about it. Is animal control, we have the animal control contract with the county, so we're administering the same animal control throughout the city as we are through that area. The land use, the county has land use requirements just like the city does.
Well, now all their uses would be grandfathered in.
And their usage would be grandfathered, but, you know, at that point, I think it is maybe an education of helping them to understand. We tried briefly to help understand some of those. But
I know,
getting interest.
I talked to somebody that was in Northtown and they said, you know, and I brought up, you know, look at your insurance rates, you know, they're gonna drop if you're within the city, you know. They said, yeah, we never thought about that, you know, so, you know, you talked about your property
The ISO rating is
taxes.
different between the county and the city, and that is
Yeah.
that is one of the many things
Yeah.
that homeowner insurance uses. And
And one of them
protection,
thought, well, I never thought about my insurance, I just looked at my taxes, you know. And
We're too free, you know, I mean, we give them all this other fire protection. I mean, I could show you cities that, you know, use their swimming pool and their golf course, you pay extra if you're
Mhm.
outside the city, but we don't do that.
you know,
We're too liberal with them and so they get all the benefits, so why should they pay? Why should they be in?
I bring it up because how do we plan for an area like this and say, hey, you know what, we need to plan, we need to add infrastructure, because we need to do infrastructure and at least planning for that, so that when things do come in, so that when it is possible, and if they do annex, we have it available, and because we don't want to, I mean, that chicken and the egg, would you build first and then annex, or do you annex and then build? Some of it, master planning, we're looking 20 years out is kind of our time frame. And we're saying, hey, what is between now and 20 years from now, where should we see things, where should we be planning? We'll have more specific items for the near, the closer it is, the more detailed we'll be able to have, and the longer it is, the less detail, but
So are we surveying the city residents, is that what we're surveying in this thing, or surveying all? I mean,
we're hoping to survey all the water users and water customers.
Yeah, customer.
And at some point have an ability to discern between city resident and
Yeah,
non-city resident.
that would be some of the questions like, are you a resident? You know,
I mean, we charge more for the water outside the city.
And sewer, if they have it, very few times have we extended sewer outside the city, but there's a few of those times.
But I guess the question would be, should we be doing that on other services?
It's a good question. It's a good question. If we want, put it on your list and help us to identify that.
yeah, this is the kind of stuff that's.
I think, you know, like what Lynn's saying, you raise the rates on other services. And I grew up going to Orem once or twice a month. That's where grandma lives. And you go to the Orem Rec Center and we paid extra, you know, because we weren't residents of Orem,
Right.
you know. And even if we went to the Provo Rec Center, you know.
We have made
You
a
pay
few of those
extra.
changes, not at the rec center and the golf course. But outside of our contracted areas for animal control, it's 3 times the rate. So if they bring an animal from outside of our service area, it's 3 times the rate.
What do you mean by that?
A surrender fee, if they surrender an animal to the animal control, we charge them a fee to surrender that animal to the animal control. And it's higher if they're not if we don't have a contract with their entity, either Duchesne County or Roosevelt. So if they bring it from Ballard and bring it to the animal control, we charge them an extra fee on top. We do it with the cemeteries. If you buy a lot and you're not a resident, you pay more. So we do have some of those things that we.
So when we respond to a fire, for example, is someone help pay for that if it's outside the city?
So we bill it to the county, so the county pays the hourly rate of our firefighters. And some towards the equipment. And then the county turns around and bills, that homeowner. And, so if it's outside the city, that homeowner gets a bill. If it's inside the city, then we don't charge the homeowner.
All those kind of things ought to be explained to people when you're explaining the different.
So one comment you made that I had a curious question. Anybody that borders the city, the ISO rate in the county are they at 10 also? Because most of the counties at 10.
I'd have to, county does it's countywide ISO rating, right?
Yes.
And the city is a different rating.
All right. I mean, we're low. I mean, in talking with Carl, I thought the whole county was a 10.
I believe that they are.
We're at 3.5 and 4.
Yeah. It's my understanding. So, but ISO isn't the only calculation, so depending on their homeowner insurance, how much they weight some of those things. But it is our understanding that homeowner insurance would be higher with county residents. We've seen that in some. So we're looking to say how do we plan? What are the concerns? What are the things? Those are great things that probably ought to be incorporated. That's great feedback. And I think we're looking for exactly that kind of feedback.
I mean, just like Ryan had said, planning for the future in that north area, if we wanna explore residential in that area, like, we also gotta look at the zone type. Do we, these large lots, or these small lots, and stuff like that, we need to have the conversation.
And, there's plenty of development area in the cove. There's still a lot that can be developed out there. How much sewer lines do we need? Do we need to add another sewer line to come up 3,000? Do we need to be planning for other infrastructure? Not that we're going to do it right away, but we got 20 years. We really need to make sure we're planning for it.
I think you need to plan for a sewer line out there. I think there's probably it could be developed a lot more densely if there was additional sewer out there.
Currently, we have a sewer line that's at the bottom of the airport, and we are, with our airport runway, we're planning to put a sleeve under there that we could push sewer up 3,000 west. So we'd have it going to Summerall Lane.
What size line would that be?
I think it's a 12, isn't it?
I was thinking it was 10, but I'd have to check. So
Bigger would be better.
bigger's better, but it might go bigger as it goes if it's flat. So,
Right.
Depending on what that is and what we have to do. But because and that's why planning is important. We're gonna have one time to open up this airport in a guy's career. I mean, we don't open it every 30 years. We have one chance to be able to put something underneath that runway, utility wise. And if we don't do it now, well, when it is opened up, we won't have another time. That won't be the way we get it done.
And that's why knowing what we want to do here is so important to figure out what type of impact it would have on a sewer line. We would figure out how to size it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, at the moment, it would tie into 1600 north. Or Strata has done their expansion.
1,600 south.
1600 south, excuse
Yeah.
me. That's where the present one that Brian's talking about is tying into.
Even stuff like, Ryan and I had talked about, I don't know if he was being figurative throwing this out, but down by the old drive-in, if that could ever be
By the way,
into us, by the drive-in. That could ever be developed into a strip mall or something like that. We had to make sure that we knew what we wanted to do there, so all the infrastructure is sized accordingly.
mm-hmm.
I mean, you look and you say,
We don't have tons of highway frontage that's in the city, do we?
There's different spots. I mean, obviously, some isn't in yet, but potential for the future. I mean, depending on what the size is and what infrastructure they need. And if we control the infrastructure by annexation, that will make a huge difference. But the other one, and maybe for this group, maybe not, but transportation, you look and you say, we don't have a lot of connections between Highway 40 and Second South. But the one that gets talked about is over here, comes up on a dirt road and comes around and winds in and around. But if you line up Rodeo Drive and the intersection by the junior high, they line up pretty well to have that. You can see in my, didn't line up here, but this line here and this line here, you can see a road could fit right through there and line that up. So you have that. And if that's going to be the case, we ought to be looking to say, well, then we shouldn't let certain development happen here if it's going to get in the way of that.
Yeah.
I think that you guys asked previously about the UDOT road shed. Did that come up here in this body?
I think so.
Or was it economic development?
Economic.
Yeah, it would have been, no, I don't remember
Yeah,
talking
anyway.
about it.
I remember it, but I was in both
I was
meetings.
gonna say, you remember with me, but.
I remember talking about it, but you're right. I think it was
But
economic
we
development.
looked at it and said, well, what happens if this moves? It's 35th on the list to be replaced. It's quite a ways down the list. It's not gonna happen for a long time. But if it does, then what do? How do we make sure that stoplights get placed in the right places in the Highway 40 as our development grows? And if that's the case, as we grow, we need to make sure we're lining up intersections. One that's an issue here is this one here, 8 South, and then 8 South, and those 2 8 Souths don't match up, let alone this going to the north. Those 3 can never have a stoplight there. That can't line up right. There's a problem. We've got to figure out, and hopefully Chuck's here to help with some of those. But any of those kind of issues, we really need to make sure we're planning for things. And if we line it up and our master plan lines up, and then we have an overlay here on the map, as we talk about it and say, hey, why somebody comes to rezone something and we say, according to the master plan, that's going to be right in the middle of a road. We probably shouldn't let you build a house there. Or some kind of zoning questions as we come up. This master plan should help us. If we have a commercial area and say, this is the reason why we're going to have commercial, we'll have the master plan to show us why. And we just haven't had that ability to use it like this. So,
And one point of interest, I might mention where you said that, at 800 South, where it exits the cemetery and ties to Highway 40, SCI, when they developed that, and IFA, the agronomy parcel, both of them have an easement for a future road to tie in there. It's just something you should know. This happened when Roger was here. There's actually an easement through both of those properties for a future road that was part of some kind of a plan when they were done. I want to say it's a 30-foot or 35-foot on both of those pieces of property right up that fence line for that future road going over the hill. Because of the jog from there over to Shakes Road.
anyway, as you have issues, we'll send that out. We'll send it out. We'll list the questions.
Yeah, so 2 things, actually, like the list of questions to help us get public input, but any ideas or thoughts you have on zoning or planning? Anything you think we need to tell us? That'll be awesome. Any feedback? Because really, I mean, the general plan has land use, which is usually in a master plan, the very first chapter, and it affects all other
Mhm.
pieces, just like you was talking about the transportation. Not just that, we're talking water, sewer, and secondary, storm drain, the whole gamut, so. Any questions for me?
Not yet.
We'll meet
In
again.
time.
Yeah. It's good to meet you guys, it's good to.
Yeah.
So just a question. Do you want Lee to send the board members out your contact information in case they want to email them or anything?
That's fine.
I will include your email in my email I send out to them.
Perfect.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Oh, open public meeting training is next on our agenda. Did we all remember to do that on our
You
own?
wanna watch it now?
I watched it.
I already watched them.
I watched it. She watched it.
You could just send us an email that you've watched it, that we put that email, in your file and we'll be good.
Have a good night.
So I
right.
call you all, we're good to go.
So those of us that are here have done it.
Well, no point watching it again.
Yep.
All the rest.
I did like that shortened one where they cut out all the time. Made it so much faster.
22 minutes goes a lot better.
Yeah. And him repeating the question was much better than trying to turn up the volume to try and hear what
You couldn't
somebody in
turn
the
it
back
up
of the room
loud
said.
enough to hear what somebody in the back of the
Yeah.
room said.
Yeah. All right, well, at that point, do we have any other business? You said we did have new applications, so we might have new members. So
I
we
don't
don't,
know whether I'm a member or not. Am I reappointed or?
You serve until March. That's the new service time. I mean,
and it actually says you serve until you're replaced too, in the ordinance. So you don't get a choice. They keep coming.
That wasn't one I was like.
We're glad you made it. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Chris, second by Lynn, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.